It all started with this gong on Friday, January 23rd, 2026, an event took place that will go down in a history of not only for the Czech people, but also the European stock markets. The Czech arms and engineering group Czechoslovak Group, under the ticker symbol CSG, made its debut on the Amsterdam Stock Exchange. Within an hour, owner Michal Strnad became the richest Czech and even ranked third among the richest people in the world, under age of 40. On the very first day, the shares rose by more than 31%. And guess what? Yesterday morning the shares added another 8%. On Friday, CSG offered approximately 15.2% of its capital through an IPO, with the price per share set at 25 euros, which corresponded to a valuation of the entire company of around 25 billion euros, over 607 billion Czech crowns. The Czech company thus raised 3.8 billion euros, around 92 billion Czech crowns, through this offering. The shares were completely sold out within 12 minutes of the start of orders. Demand for the shares was extreme. The community of investors on Bulios who shared their trades and plans with others also contributed to this. From an initial price of 25 euros, the shares rose sharply, climbing to around 33 euros. During the first hours of trading, an increase of approximately 31%. This means that those who acquired shares during the IPO and sold them immediately after technically achieved an immediate profit of nearly one-third of their original investment. The final market capitalization thus exceeded 30 billion euros, more than 700 billion Czech crowns, on the first trading day, making CSG one of the most valuable defense stocks in Europe. The IPO of Czechoslovak Group thus became the largest in the defense sector worldwide and one of the largest initial public offerings in Europe since the year 2000. For owner and director Michal Strnad, this is a personal triumph. Strnad, who owns the majority of shares, has significantly increased his personal wealth with this move. He still controls approximately 85% of the company even after the IPO. Between 8:30 and 9:30 am on Friday, his assets more than doubled. Before trading began, it was 331 billion Czech crowns, and after the stock rose, it climbed to over 765 billion crowns. With this, he surpassed all Czechs, including Renata Kellnerová, whom he surpassed by more than 400 billion crowns. He also ranked third among the richest people on the planet under the age of 40. Global players such as BlackRock and Al Ryan Holdings LLC also committed to the IPO in advance. Together, they accounted for a volume of 900 million euros. From a commercial and strategic point of view, however, CSG has no plans to slow down. The company intends to use the proceeds from the IPO to strengthen its financial flexibility, expand its research, and continue the acquisition activity it has already begun. This includes a significant acquisition of US ammunition manufacturer worth $2.2 billion. The group is thus dynamically preparing to become an even stronger player in the global defense market, where demand for ammunition, armed vehicles, and defense systems continues to grow. According to the company's published financial results, which our team has thoroughly analyzed, the group's business can be divided into two main branches: defense systems and Ammo+. The defense segment accounts for about 3/4 of total sales, while the Ammo+ segment accounts for about 1/5. However, the decisive part of the group's economy takes place within defense systems, particularly in the production of ammunition. The largest source of revenue for the entire group is the production of medium and large caliber ammunitions, which accounted for approximately 60% of total revenue in the first 9 months of last year. The second largest item is grounding systems, such as tanks, armed vehicles, and heavy equipment modernization, with a share of around 13%. According to the data, CSG achieved an operating margin of over 25% in 2024, and it remained above 23% in the first 9 months of 2025. These are above average figures for the European defense industry. In the medium term, the company estimates a revenue growth of around 14 to 16% per year. These figures are the results of the current increased demand for weapon systems, not only in Europe. Yesterday's stock market performance is ultimately rather unimpressive, even after a very strong opening. The shares sold out immediately after the stock's market opened and ended trading with a loss of about 0.5%. They closed under 33 euros per share. Have you invested in them, or are you still hesitating? This video may be ending, but you can find out much more about Czechoslovak Group shares on Bulios, not only from their detailed graph, but also from contributions from the community which is still discussing the topic.